Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Newfoundland. Oh wait, no.
Cut.
This is not. Keep that was part of. Keep that was part of the deal. That was part of the deal.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah,
You
we're
still
off
have to
to a
remember
great
at the end of the day, I am the boss here, so.
I'm keeping it in there. Thank you, Keeb, for correcting me, I guess. No, it is no longer the Newfoundland Gamer podcast. We have rebranded, and we are now the Game On Network podcast. And with the rebrand, we have brought on two more hosts. First up, we've got Kevin, the founder of the Game On Network. His screen name is Chicknwings. What's going on, Kevin? How's it going?
It's pretty good tonight, and I've been mostly doing a few things for the site lately, but other than that, nothing else has been going on lately.
Good deal. And, of course, a good buddy of mine, Stu. You know him as misterDude 206. What's up, man?
My cholesterol, and I broke my TV.
Oh, that's yeah.
That sure is a shame. Moment of silence on that.
He threw his Wiimote at the TV.
Oh.
You're mean, Keeb. Why are you so mean?
I've been watching a lot of those Wii fail videos lately. They're pretty damn funny.
Well, before we get too far into it, I want to make sure you know that still with us is, of course, Chad, KeebThe JokingGamer. How's it going, Keeb?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up?
And, of course, MichaelBtheGameGenie. How's it going, buddy?
Well, because of the new rebrand, I'm super duper fantastic.
I love it. So, look, you know, we've got a couple things to talk about tonight. A lot of things going on, and a lot of cool stuff that we've just kind of been discussing in our own time with each other and stuff like that. So the first thing I think it's only fitting that we talk about the rebrand first, and kind of why we've done this, what our goal is, kind of where we're headed with this, and so forth, so on. So, Mike, why don't you kind of start off for us and kind of explain, because I think you put it best of everybody that I've talked, like when we've been talking about it, why we've done this and what's going on. So,
well, I think probably the best reason to ever bring it up was when we started doing this podcast. The idea was it was going to be myself, Chad. We were looking to get another person that wasn't able to commit, and also Derek the Completionist. And it was going to be 4 gamers from Newfoundland that talked about gaming, YouTube, other things like that. But unfortunately, the membership was just me and Chad in the end. And Chris, you were thankful enough to come on and join us. And a lot of people brought it up. They were like, what are you doing on the Newfoundland Gamer podcast? And it just didn't make any sense. And it limited our abilities to bring people like Chris and like Stu and Kevin onto the podcast. So we wanted to do something that reached more of a global scope and didn't focus so much on Newfoundland, that outside of me, Chad, and probably 500,000 people that live here actually know about Newfoundland. We wanted to do something that was a little bit more global and focus more on gaming and, of course, the Game On Network, which many of us are contributors on.
Yeah, and that's...
Which everybody on this podcast is contributors to.
Well, once you're on the podcast, of course you're a contributor then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just by your voice being here. So yeah, I mean, it only made sense. And, actually, in a segment tonight, you'll actually hear a little bit of something from someone going, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, it was, it was a good move, I think. And, I was personally really excited to get these two guys on with us and to have a little bit, even more of a roundtable thing happening when we talk. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where the magic takes us. So. Yep. So thanks for coming on board, fellas. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you, sir. Weekend Game Guy 1.
Not 2, but 1.
Yep.
That's fun. I really feel like I owe it to the public at some point to explain why it's Weekend Game Guy 1 and not just Weekend Game Guy. I think the only person in here, I don't know, Stu, you might know, but I know Mike, you know. So
yeah, I know.
We'll explain it at some point later on. I will. So anyway, that's that for the rebrand. We're excited about it, and it's been a pretty easy transfer so far. The NL Gamer podcast YouTube channel, it'll still be up to have the archive of old episodes, but we're gonna move episodes from this point forward elsewhere. to the Game On Network YouTube channel. And as far as the iTunes thing, absolutely nothing will change. It'll just switch over on your phone or your iPod or whatever, and it'll automatically update. It actually has already updated. So you might have already listened to an older episode going, wait, what the heck happened to my... But don't worry, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about the first thing we want to talk about? Was it the Nintendo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right on.
So, all right, I personally don't usually watch the Nintendo Direct, and that's because...
Why not?
Well, I don't have a Wii U, and I don't feel like I'm going to get in.
Get one now.
I agree with you, totally. I do know I am aware of some of the stuff because I read articles that come out. That's just kind of how I get information. So, Mike, why don't you start off? I know that you're pretty hot and bothered about some of the stuff and real excited about some of the stuff they announced. So you kick it off and we can kind of jump in from there.
Well, you're kind of leading me up here. I don't know if I'm hot and bothered.
And excited.
And excited, but actually it turned out very well because I had to take a sick day on Tuesday, and I didn't even realize Tuesday was Nintendo Direct Day. So I watched Nintendo Direct, and there were a lot of things that came out. They talked about a lot of the things we already knew. Of course, they gave updates on this new Super Mario 3D World, which, as I said in my E3 video, now that people have seen a little bit more of it, and some people have got hands-on with it, they're saying that it might be one of the best Mario games ever made. Like, they're saying it's the sole reason for people to go out and buy a Wii U.
It's, you know what? It's so looking that it's like it's pretty much the predecessor to, or the next great thing to the two Mario Galaxy games.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of a lot of elements of Mario. It's very similar, though, to Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. So if you've played that, it's like that, just a lot more advanced. Anyways, there was that. Probably one of the biggest pieces of news that came out from Nintendo Direct that a lot of people are really upset by is that Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze will no longer be released in Q4. They're actually going to halt development on it, and it's going to be released, they're thinking Q2 2014.
I guess they just want to. I guess really what they want to do there is just iron out the game and really make it, the best they possibly can make it. Which means thus, I don't really have that much of a problem with it.
Well,
from that point, if they're holding development to try to iron out some bugs and make the game the best that they possibly can make it, well, that's all the best for it.
Well, this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, right? Because everyone's already harping on Nintendo about not having any games, and this would have been a pretty decent game, right? I was very excited about it, and it was one of those titles that when I saw the previews for it and read about it, I was like, I want a Wii U definitely. But the thing is, now I might hold off, and there might be other gamers out there that hold off on a Wii U and stuff like that. So the argument's going to continue that, well, they don't have any games. But at the same time, if they'd have rushed production and just dumped it out there and it had sucked, we'd have been down their throats again. So Nintendo...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Mike, you were going to say something, Mike, and anybody...
Well, I have something. I think it's for a very different reason, but I want to hear what Stu and Kevin have to say.
Well, to this day, I still haven't even bought a Wii U game for that fact,
Yeah.
Get Zombie U.
Well, actually, tomorrow's the release of, the special edition, whatever, the Wind Waker, so I guess that'll be number one game of what I've got for I don't know, 6-7 months since I had the Wii U.
Yeah.
I refuse to buy something just to buy it, The reason why I got the system is for, the specific games for the Wii U, like the Marios, the Zeldas, and all that stuff. As for them trying to put out games just to put out games, I would rather not spend my money on those. Even if they are good, I just gotta be picky. And if the company wants to just spit stuff out to get things out, I don't think they should do that either,
No.
Otherwise, it'll end up like the library of the Wii, and the Wii has a whole lot of just crapware and shovelware as well, so.
Yeah. there are a lot of
then again, within some of those crapware, those shovelware games, there are some hidden gems.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the thing is, you've got to dig so deep that it, you know what I'm saying? You'll be exhausted before you find stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, thank God we got each other and we kind of recommend stuff back and forth, and you know what I'm saying? That's what saved us, you know, I think, because I find Wii games all the time based on recommendations that people give me, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Like finding Sin and Punishment Star Successor for 99 cents, brand new.
Yeah, and you know, I found that on a recommendation, and then I recommended it to everybody else, and I know a whole bunch of people that picked it up after I recommended it. So I mean, that's been like how I've really reconnected to my Wii. But you know, Kevin, what are your thoughts if you've got any?
Well, my biggest problem is not the fact of shovelware because there's going to be first-party titles that everybody's going to want to try to get their hands on. But like what Keeb said, that, you know, they have to try to perfect the game before making it come out, because there's games like, you know, E.T. or Pac-Man back in the Atari 2600 days when there was a demand for putting those games on the console. They immediately rushed out the door without even playtesting it to get it into working order, and then it didn't sell very well. So, yeah, at the same time, I can kind of see why they would want to, like, get the game out there. But in the day and age where there's, like, firmware updates and patches and stuff, that they can immediately fix these problems. But I would rather have a fully functioning game rather than having to wait like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time after getting the game and then having to sit on it just like a coaster on your table. But it's and also with the independent market, with that being a huge thing now, that there's so many games coming out for that, and even with stuff like Kickstarter, there's a lot of things coming out for just that market alone that we can even hold off on, you know, first-party games. Yeah. But again, if Nintendo is going to succeed, it's probably going to be with their first-party stuff. And maybe doing like a separate, like maybe once every 4 or 5 months, release like a new first-party title, and then doing the repeating process over and over again. And I think that's probably the one thing that Nintendo is missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my opinion is I don't think the game is held up in development, and I think Kevin's kind of on the right track there. I think what Nintendo have done, they've looked at their releases that are going to be coming out in the first and second quarters of 2014 and said, yeah, it's going to be real light. So a lot of people that are Wii U owners more than likely are going to get a little bit frustrated with the system, like they're already getting frustrated. Like Stu mentioned, there hasn't been a lot of games come out with a lot of mass appeal. And they understand they've got a couple titles there that people are going to go bonkers for. Super Mario 3D World, obviously, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So I think that they've delayed it, not because they needed to, just to bolster what their lineup's going to be in that quarter and their sales numbers. That's my opinion.
Yep.
That does make sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, what else? Another thing that I have been noticing a lot lately with the Wii U, because after this past E3, is the fact that I'm seeing a lot more new IPs this time around, because they were only showing like maybe 2 or 3 games that were already confirmed that were going to be coming back as sequels. And then a lot of the other stuff that they were showing were first-party exclusives, like Wonderful 101, and then that Project X or whatever that thing is called that is being made by Monolith, and that one looks really interesting because it's like Monster Hunter with mechs. But I would like to really see a lot more, you know, new stuff coming out, and I think that's what they're trying to go for. Because I know a lot of people that are huge fans of Nintendo have been really craving for that new IP that could be like the next Mario or the next Zelda or Donkey Kong, Metroid, some other franchise. So if they can continue to keep up with that momentum, then I can really see a lot of good games coming out by next year alone.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of interesting that you brought that up. Like, Nintendo have focused on doing that, and I think that's a smart marketing strategy for them, because realistically, if I buy an Xbox One, it's not going to be because I want to play third-party content that I can easily play on my PS3 or PS4 on the Xbox One. It's going to be, I want to play that next Halo game. I want to play the next Fable game.
Yeah.
The games that we've become accustomed to as being exclusives to the system. So Nintendo's done a good job of taking games like Sonic the Lost World, which I know a lot of people are upset about the DLC with, but, you know, Nintendo worked with Sega on this game. Then you've got a game like Bayonetta 2 that's becoming an exclusive for the system. Hopefully these are the games that are going to sell it, the ones that say, well, I need a Nintendo to play this outside of their own first-party titles.
Yeah. Exactly. Because with any system, you have to have that core first-party support. But you have to have that third-party support there for it to, you know, really sell.
Well, I mean...
It has to have a balanced mix of both.
Well, they're already not getting that third-party support. I mean, you think about it, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 2 weeks ago, and it's, you know, arguably one of the best-selling games of all time already. Where was the Wii U version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like it wasn't compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to stick by that Nintendo image, maybe.
But Nintendo's already broken that image, and they have a history with Rockstar Games. Nintendo had their own first-party title made for the DS, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. So, I mean, it's not like Nintendo's not willing to work with them.
And also for the fact that the whole thing with, like, a lot of people calling the system a kiddie system when that's not really true, because if you remember back when Wii was first out, that families and casuals were getting involved in the system and people started hating on it. And then it started getting games like No More Heroes or
Mad
what's
World.
the other one? Yeah, Mad World. And I actually love Mad World.
I love it. Sorry.
But the problem.
I need to pick that game up. I heard it's supposed to be really good.
You do. It's gruesome.
It
Go
is.
ahead, Kevin.
But the big problem that I have with people is just that. And there's, like, you know, systems like the 360, which they say, you know, that's more inclined to adults, when there were games that actually came out during launch, like Cameo Elements of Power, which to me is a very underrated game for the 360. But despite that, I think people are really taking the concept of the system too out of proportion, because it's a good system and it pretty much goes for any sort of market out there. And I think that, you know, is a topic that's gotten a bit out of hand, and I really do think that people need to at least give the console a bit of a chance, and then there will be those hardcore M-rated titles that they've been wanting to clamor for, and maybe in the near future a Wii U version update of Grand Theft Auto 5 with the controller, because they've clearly done it with games like Assassin's Creed and what was the other one? Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like, outside of 8-Bit Eric, who bought those games that were already released for like 7 months on other systems?
Yeah.
I know I didn't.
No, like, why am I buying a copy of Mass Effect 3 for $79, which is what they were charging at Walmart for Mass Effect 3, on the Wii, because it has a couple extra DLC features.
Correct.
As opposed to when I could have bought it at the same time for $9 brand new at Walmart.
You know, a couple weeks ago when I, Facebooked some, Wii U games, I saw Mass Effect 3 for $8.99 at Best Buy. I still did not buy it just for that fact, because I already have it. And then there was just a whole bunch of promotions. They're really trying to push the games that they do have now. But I really hope that that's not hurting the Wii U by people passing on it. You know what I mean? Because if they can't sell the games that they initially want to release, how are they going to make money to produce the ones that they're trying to produce? But, it sucks both ways. But what can you do? The consumers aren't just going to drop money to support a big company that's already big.
And plus, I think Nintendo was trying very hard to please everybody by the fact that during the last generation, people were complaining about third-party games not getting as much love on the Wii as some people would have hoped. But I think now they're trying to get back to the gamers and say, like, yeah, we're going to try it as hard as we can to get third-party companies to actually develop games for the Wii U. But even still, that's a problem on its own, because even Bethesda said that they're not wanting to actually support the Wii U, and then there's some other companies that are trying to do the same. But again, it's trying its hardest to give these gamers something to actually play on the system. But yeah, I do agree that at the same time, it was a bit of a disappointment to actually publish games that were already out months in advance when they could have actually brought out, you know, like Black Ops 2 when it came out during the same week as the Wii U did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment is Zombie U, which I thought was actually a really, really good game. I know it's not for everybody, Stewfish, but Zombie U actually was a really fun game. Like, the people who have played it loved it. Like, it's got a huge following. I know my boys, the 16-Bit Brothers, they're big fans of it. A lot of people like Zombie U. But here's the thing. The company, that third-party company that probably backed, you know, the Wii U more than anybody else was Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
so Ubisoft released Zombie U, and they were releasing the whole Assassin's Creed 57 or whatever we're up to right now.
Yeah.
But actually, Activision have been asked, like, what's the plans for Zombie U 2? And they're like, actually, we're not going to make it. We had plans to do it, but we've just scrapped it now. It's not profitable. It's not on a profitable system. So the biggest supporter they had for third-party development, and the people that were willing to work with them and make, you know, games just for that console, have already said, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sucks.
So I don't get a second Zombie U, and Stewfish still won't buy the first one.
Yeah.
Unless it's on the dollar menu, I'm not gonna get it. But you know,
It really is. I'm not.
just play it, goddammit. Yeah.
So good.
Let's talk about the.
It's bad. I played the demo. I'm not saying it's bad, but you know, I'd rather spend that towards something else.
So
like
Stu, is that all you're playing? Is just, you know, demos on your, or anything?
Yeah,
at all?
I'm just playing demos and like all the downloadable stuff you can get for the retro games. That's cool, but you know, me being a collector, I kind of already have that stuff, so that's why my tablet's been collecting dust. And you know, I text and I type people in the Miiverse, and that's about all I do with the thing. But it would be really cool if like they made some kind of update where you can play the Wii games on the actual pad itself. Then I would play it a bit more for the versatility of that. But as for the actual games that the Wii U has, you know, I got close to buying Resident Evil Revelations, but that's for the 3DS already. But you know, I gotta have something to play, and I'm waiting just like everyone else for that killer app, I guess. But you know.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned the pad update. That kind of flows really well. Mike, talk about that. The new the update on the pad.
So there was a Nintendo Wii U system update that kind of went a little bit unheralded. They didn't mention it in the Nintendo Direct. It hasn't really been out there in the mainstream media a whole lot. But it's a massive update that actually allows Wii compatibility with the gamepad to an extent. You still can't play your Wii games with the gamepad, but now the audio and video from the Wii, I haven't tried it myself yet, so I don't know the level of it, but the audio and video from the Wii is now also shown on the Wii U gamepad. So I don't know why they would go through doing this. Like, it makes no difference to me. Why do I need to see the Wii gameplay on my gamepad? I still can't use the gamepad.
So it's just like a little TV?
That's basically it. That's all the update did, which I think is ludicrous.
That's a little bit of a waste of time.
Yes.
But maybe it's a stepping stone toward being able to use the Wii, the pad to play the games. I would assume so, right? I mean, otherwise it's stupid.
We talked a little bit about this before. Like, Stu Fish brought it up. Like, how do you play half those Wii games with that tablet?
Yeah, what do you do?
Flail it wildly, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, too, that I'm a little awkward with, like, if I'm going to be playing, like, a Wii game, like we talked about Sin and Punishment Star Successor, and I mean, you're pointing your Wiimote at the TV and stuff like that. Like, am I taking the Wii sensor bar and putting it on top of the tablet? Like, how does this work?
Yeah. It seems like a waste. I guess maybe if they ever move to a place where you're actually playing, you could do the dual stick thing, I guess. But still, that's so much less intuitive than, like, in particular, Sin and Punishments, like, comes to mind perfectly. Like, that's so much less, intuitive than the Wiimote.
I'd be a lot happier. Like, I need some time to actually play it and confirm, but maybe if I can play my Wii Virtual Console games with the gamepad, I'd feel better about it.
That would be cool.
It doesn't make sense with the Wii games. Like, I don't see any benefit to streaming the audio and visual from the Wii emulator that they have on the Wii U.
Well, maybe that's, say if you're, someone's, child and dad wants to play this game, but they don't want their son to mess it up. Maybe I guess that wouldn't work either, because you'd have to have two tablets, right?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Stupid Nintendo.
But
what they should do, which they possibly could be doing, is, like Keeb mentioned earlier, is port DS games to the eShop, and then we can use the TV as one screen and the tablet as a secondary screen, and then they can do it that way. But that's still, it's pushing it further and further away of actually having the Wii U to its fullest capability, which is, it doesn't make any sense, but...
I actually don't want to see that. I don't want to see eShop games, DS games on the eShop. Like, I've talked about this ridiculously. I mean, all the DS games they're, first party SD cards. I mean, why can't we just slip our DS games into the Wii U somehow, or maybe through some kind of adapter and play it with the Wii gamepad? I don't want to see eShop versions. I want to be able to take my DS games out and just plug them into something.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Nintendo have already, like, especially with the Wii U, they've already gouged us as much as they possibly can, like, with the Wii Virtual Console games not automatically switching over to the Wii U Virtual Console. Like, I know we only got to pay $1 or $1.50, but still, I don't think I should have to pay anything.
No, you've already bought it.
Yeah.
But they're hurting for money, so.
Yeah.
So's Capcom.
Yeah.
What's up with all the big companies hurting for money? I mean, they're stupid and messing up. They obviously know what's going on, but they're trying to, it's just like way off topic. Why they don't want to redo Final Fantasy VII, because they feel that if they do, that they already failed. That's stupid.
Yep.
Well,
have you guys heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Have they not seen the last 4 Final Fantasy releases and realized they already have failed?
Yeah.
Square Enix is next. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Squenix.
I'm telling you, it'll be Capcom and Konami. That Mike, you said it last time. It'll be Capnami. They're going to come together and make a Mega Man Contra.
Mega Contra.
Actually, that could be an awesome homebrew game for the NES.
See? I'm a genius.
Can you imagine playing Mega Man with Contra difficulty? One-hit deaths?
Yeah, that'd be really hard.
That would be brutal.
It's the next advantage.
They can do a Marvel / Star Wars fighting game, since, just mix it all up. Why not?
Yeah. Going back to the Capcom things too, I talked about this last week. I think people have a piece of a financial statement that just shows that Capcom only has so much money in the bank right now, but that's not necessarily their financial position. And that's not uncommon with game companies, that when they do have multiple projects up in the air, that they have a lot of money put into research and development and a lot of money put out into payables, but and the cash is spent, but they don't have any indication of what the receivables are, what they're expecting to generate. I don't know if Capcom's really as bad off as people think they are.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, we kind of mentioned an attachment for the Wii U. Let's talk about an attachment for the PS4, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to do it as an attachment. Let's talk about the Vita TV.
It's a separate console, man.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, they're talking about a way to plug it to your PS4, or am I completely wrong?
They initially wanted the PS Vita to be kind of like the Wii U and the tablet.
Yeah.
But because they initially wanted to do that for the PSP, but it wasn't strong enough, So then they released the PS Vita, which is not very, compatible with the PS3. You can do some remote play, but now they're saying, oh, well, if you have the PS Vita and the PS4, then it'll work. But they just, the PS Vita TV, I personally think would be a good idea, but that's just for people that don't want to bring their games for the PS Vita on the go. It's like a lot of companies are trying to take their items and just redo them to resell them. It's weird.
Good idea, bad idea?
Actually, good idea in a way. You know, for all of us that basically all of us that aren't on the go a lot. You know what I mean? And we want some way to play those games, at home versus sitting on the couch and playing them that way.
I don't know. I don't want to play handheld games on the TV. It's funny because I'm completely, contradicting myself about the DS stuff earlier, but I really like the PS Vita. I like the way the Vita looks. I like the way the games look on the Vita.
Yeah.
And anybody who's played especially PSP games and the remade PSP games for the PS3, there's significant issues with the games. The games aren't developed for your TV.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to be.
I mean, I guess it's a cool feature for, we were talking earlier, casually, for your Netflix and stuff like that. But I mean, is it worth it then? You can go get
the price is only about $150 or $150 around there. That's the last price that I heard. But I think that's well worth it to unlock the PSN network for the people, and also there is the actual cartridge slot for the PS Vita games. But the one thing is that the touch capabilities for some of the games, they want to transfer that over to when the PS4 comes out, because the PS4 actually has that controller with the touchpad on it. So hopefully some kind of firmware update will help everyone with the PS Vita TV. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, so you use your DualShock 4, to
so
fix that problem with the touchscreen, right?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. But as for the actual PS Vita as a console itself, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea to add another thing in the market. But I guess it could keep the games alive if the PS Vita is still around and the PS Vita TV is still by its side. You know what I mean?
But
yeah.
This doesn't remind you guys a little bit of Sega? I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of how I thought of it whenever I heard, another attachment. I mean, granted, I think one of the coolest things about it is for people that do reviews and stuff like that. It's a way to. I'm really in the middle of a sentence, Keeb.
Okay. I was going to say, basically, what are we going to get a system that looks like it's got.
Right, I'm still in the middle of my sentence, Keeb.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, I think it's a handy thing for guys that do reviews and stuff, because you can stream into your capture device your Vita. I don't know if there's another way to do that at this point. I don't have a Vita, so I know that with the PSP, you have to get the certain cables and stuff like that. So
there's composite cable for the PSP.
Yeah.
But there's the HDMI out for the PS Vita TV, and that could capture through your HD capture, so that would totally work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would.
But as of now, you can't capture PS Vita. You have to actually record your actual screen. So a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
So that
okay. Yeah.
So, Key, what were you wanting to say desperately?
I was just gonna say, are we gonna see another console that looks like the Genesis? Looks like it's getting, buck from two ends. Basically the top, and basically looks like it's getting fucked from both sides, or it looks like there's two used tubers attached to it.
I don't know.
Can we actually get a skit?
Bring to the the Sega 32X and the Sega CD.
Can we actually get a skit like they did on Family Guy, where it was like, who else but Quagmire?
Yeah.
Every time Keeb swears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might as well.
I honestly think one of the reasons why they're doing this is because when a system falters the way that the Vita has with sales, they look for cheaper alternatives to get it out to the market, because most companies like PlayStation, and especially with Wii U, they don't make a ton of their money off their actual hardware, the systems itself, till later on in the production cycle.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll try to lower the price, and we've all wondered, what's taken so long with the Vita price drop, and it didn't go down. And my guess is because they probably were already selling it at a loss to try to enter the market. So I think what happened was they looked at it and they said, is there any cheaper way we can build the PlayStation Vita? And they figured out no, and they said, oh shit, how are we going to sell the games? Well, the cheapest way to do it would be PS Vita TV. We can sell it for $100, which is probably the entry market point for us to sell these games for it. And that's the cheapest way we can put it out there. We don't got to put a screen in. We can just use the base guts.
Yeah.
Like the 2DS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But smash it into a piece of plastic. But it's still kind of cool.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people are interested in that thing.
Although I kind of, with the 2DS, I kind of think like the controls are at like an awkward position for me.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, like we talked about this in the podcast John was on. I like the idea of where the controls are because it reminds me more of the Wii U gamepad, which I really like the controls for. And to tell you the truth, with the DS right now, sometimes I find it heavy because the controls and everything's in the bottom, and the top part of the screen is actually a little bit heavier than the bottom at times. So I find it like an awkward control. So maybe a tablet might be a easier way to use it.
Yeah. As far as the 2DS is concerned, as soon as I saw it, I wanted it. And I haven't wanted a 3DS. I haven't really been interested in it. But 2DS I'm very interested in. So
the only thing I'm a little disappointed with the 2DS, I assume that the 2DS would still have the big like 3DS XL screen.
Yeah.
But I don't think it does. I think it's gone back to a regular 3DS size screen.
That's a little strange too. It's a strange move. Because
I don't know for sure. I'm just looking at what I've seen so far. I don't know the exact specs.
Well, I assumed it was, but yeah. So, I'm interested in the 2DS, but it's a little bit of a departure of what we were talking about. But hey, no, it's all good because we were talking about Wii U, and I just happened to be thinking about it, and as far as killer apps and cool games and stuff like that. Did you guys see the new Sonic that they're coming out with, the Sonic Lost World? That looks kind of like a Mario Galaxy ripoff. You seen that yet?
Parts of it.
Yeah.
Entirely.
It looks pretty fun. They say that it's actually two different games. The 3DS version and the Wii U version are completely different games.
Do you know what the undermarket name for the 3DS version is?
What is it?
Sonic Lost World Colors.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
So basically, if you've played Sonic Colors for the Wii, they're using some kind of chemistry like that for the 3DS version.
That was a good game, though, right? I mean,
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I need to actually purchase it, but I did enjoy it.
It was no Sonic and the Black Knight, but it was okay.
Oh, I didn't play that one.
Or Sonic and the Secret Rings or whatever it was.
I've got the Secret Rings. That's oh man. Anyway, yeah,
Generations was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I've got that on Steam. I enjoy it a lot. Phil with Malice actually hooked me up with a code to get it for free off Steam, and that was really thank you, Phil with Malice, if you're out there listening. It was a really cool. It's a really fun game. I like it. So anyway, that was just kind of a side thing that I was thinking about. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway. All right. The other thing we wanted to talk about was the ridiculousness of prices in games and how things seem to shoot up, shoot down, shoot back up as far as the prices of some rare games. I can't even remember the game we were talking about that went from like 200 to 700 to 200 again. And what game was it?
Samson.
I don't know if anything jumped back down to 200.
Amagon.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Samson.
Which Atlas is going to make the next Amagon game. So
actually, Nintendo's currently working on the next Amagon game through their partnership with Sega Sammy.
Why not?
I really hope that's not going to happen. So, who's blowing up?
I am. I'm sorry, guys. My wife, she doesn't
Whoop-ah!
understand.
Whoop-ah!
Yeah.
Anyways, we were going to talk about the ridiculous of game prices, and I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons this came up was I came across a reseller that was actually selling some stuff at great prices. Like, he sold a load of NES games for, like, bottom line, like, I'm just letting everything go for $5. So Star Trek 25th anniversary, there was a couple $20, $30 games. He was letting them all go for $5. Then he turned around, he had a copy of Snow Brothers, and I was like, how much do you want? And he was like, I don't know, like $180, something like that. So I ended up getting Snow Brothers. So then he goes ahead and he tells me, by the way, I've also got a copy of Little Samson. So I'm thinking, man, this guy's giving incredible deals. Like, he seems like a cool guy. He's a collector. I can't believe this. I'm probably going to get a copy of Little Samson. I said, well, how much do you want? Then he said, yeah, I'd probably have to at least ask for 700, 750, something like that.
Oh my God.
So I was thinking to myself, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, I know for a fact that, like, a lot of guys on YouTube have just bought this game for around $400. And last year when I saw it, like, it was, it and Panic Restaurant were around the same price, so they were going from anywhere from $200 to $300. But I haven't really followed the price. So then I checked eBay.ca, and sure enough, like, I mean, Little Samson right now on eBay averages between $650 to $1,000.
Yeah, he crack dealered you, man. He roped you in with his $5 deals, and it happens to me all the time.
But it's not just that game, too. I mean, like, when Bonk's Adventure on the NES is another game that's kind of awkward. It's actually not even a good version of Bonk's Adventure. TurboGrafx 16 version's better.
Agreed.
But, I mean, that went from an $86 game, that's up to a $400 game right now.
That's crazy.
Where are these prices coming from? And it's the age-old discussion.
Well, I blame us, honestly.
Well, I blame you, Chris. I blame you.
It's all my fault because I got all the good games. Like, no, I mean, I blame the YouTube community from the standpoint that we made it popular again, more popular. And, I mean, as the popularity of the retro gaming community grew, in particular, the NES titles, became the most popular. I mean, at least that's what I've observed, that those have become the most popular, retro titles.
Because the actual physical cartridge-based games, those are the ones that are crazy.
Yeah.
As for disc and PS2 and PS1, they're somewhat reasonable, but not as crazy as Nintendo or freaking Super Nintendo's getting right now.
Yeah.
And like I said, Game Boy Advance is that next thing because it's basically, portable Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So watch prices. I quote this now. Watch Game Boy Advance game prices go up.
Yeah.
Well, I think another contributing factor, because it's the podcast that Pat and his friend Ian, who's also another reseller like myself, and he even brought up a good point by the fact that there are so many monetizers that will sit on, like, the Little Samsons, Restaurant Panics, even games like Stadium Events, and they will basically jack the prices up until somebody who's not willing to wait and find it for a smaller, cheaper price and will just buy it. And that's what really is causing a major increase in prices in games over the past few years. And also just for the fact that the demand for games are just so very common nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Kev.
Well,
yeah, definitely.
You got a really good point there, Kevin. I want to go back to Chris's point, and he says, I blame us. Okay? Chris says that, and I agree with him, but not in the same way of what he's saying. I don't agree that it's because people go on YouTube and make videos about these games. It's because the majority of people that are on YouTube making videos about these games are collectors.
Yeah.
And how they fund their collections sometimes is by scoping up everything at the flea markets, scoping up everything everywhere they go, garage sales, all that stuff. You watch these people, they go to big garage sale videos, and, like, it starts to click in. Isn't that, like, the 78 copy of Super Metroid that this guy has picked up?
Yeah.
And you want to know what he's doing with them? He's turning around and selling them, because that's how he funds his own collection, and a little bit more. And these collectors that are going up and grabbing all these games at the great prices, they're not turning around and selling these games at collector bro prices. They're putting them on eBay. They're putting them everywhere. So, you know, all these people on YouTube that are the first to say, oh, I hate going to the flea market and running into a reseller, then they turn around and they're on eBay and they're doing it themselves. So, I mean, it's a complete contradiction, and I find it ridiculous. It's the people that do it the most are actually the first ones to say, like, oh, this Craigslist deal is ridiculous, or this stuff is. Well, why are you turning around and doing the exact same thing that you have such a big problem with?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you there.
And it's true. Like, a lot of people don't talk about it, but some of the people that are like, oh, Craigslist is crazy, and the garage sales were ridiculous today. This guy wanted $10 for a copy of Super Mario All-Stars. How am I supposed to make my $15 profit selling it for $25?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Rich.
Yeah.
You know?
The darker side to collecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you said, but since I am in a retail environment, I do get a lot of people bringing stuff in, but at the same time, I'm still a collector, and it's kind of hard for me to, you know, be able to collect on the side, because I've been wanting to get these games for a while. But at the same time, there's overhead fees and pretty much paying for the business license and all this stuff, but at the same time, I'm still giving people good deals, because there's this option that I'm probably going to start following, since Ian did bring this up during his podcast, and that there's a lot of buy it now auctions now than there are just like straight up regular auctions.
Yeah.
And what he does is he goes on to how much this completed auction went for, and there's like, you know, a copy of Legend of Zelda, you know, for the Super Nintendo, and there's like copies of it that went for like 20 to 25, maybe even 27, and he wanted to price it pretty much close to like below the regular value, or maybe even a little bit close to 25.
Yeah.
See, that to me is at least still giving them a good deal, and at the same time, they're still going to be making profit off of it.
See, the problem I have with that, and I go through this with the resellers here, because I'm actually I'm very well liked by the resellers, but I'm also completely hated, because the first thing I'll do is I'll tell them, I'll say, what are you selling this for? And they'll say, hold on, I'll check my database, which means they're going to scope out eBay really quickly.
Yeah.
So I scope out eBay at the same time, and I'm like, what'd you find? And then we'll talk about the prices, and then they'll say, well, you know, this completed auction went for $70, and this buy it now is for $75, so I'd have to try to sell it around $75. And I'm like, that's a bullshit price, because you know what? If you were selling that through eBay, you would also lose out on your eBay fees. So, I mean, that price is already somewhat inflated.
Yeah.
So I don't think eBay is the adequate place to go looking for these prices, just because of completed auctions and all this stuff.
Well,
But it kind of is like the most common form of finding any sort of pricing out there, because there, if you kind of put it into perspective, there really isn't a true price guide like how it was with like, if anybody remembers this, like back in the early 2000s, there was a little magazine that was called the Beckett Price Guide, and this was a very popular thing back when sports cards and
Oh yeah, I used it all the time for my hockey cards, Kevin. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was probably the most praised price guide out of the entire family, and we never really saw anything else out there. But if there was something like that that was actually still publishing, even for online, I could understand people wanting to use that. But there really isn't a true place to look online, because there's been so many places to do it. But even still, those aren't really up to date as to, you know, when prices go inflated.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future there might be something like that. I mean, that could be a project that Game On Network might actually do, but for right now, I mean, with eBay, buy it now completed auctions, I would not even worry about. Just regular auctions that were completed, I would probably stick with those. But try to at least give a little bit of leg room for both collectors and people that don't have a lot of money to spend around to be able to purchase these games.
Kevin, I'm going to jump back in, Chris. I'm really sorry.
No,
I know you were right in the middle of a sentence.
You're fine. No.
But I have a lot more time for a business who put their prices up around eBay prices, because I understand that there is overhead, But when it's John coming out of his garage and he's sitting there and he's wearing half a t-shirt, probably pants, probably not, and he's like, boy, I gotta sell it for the eBay price. What the hell are you doing with the game? You're not wearing pants, man. Just sell me the game for a reasonable price.
Thanks
now
for visiting,
that
by the
I
way.
can understand.
Yeah, my thing was there's a local game store. Well, actually, he's kind of started his own chain. He's got a couple of spots, but here, and he told me straight up, like one day I was in there talking to him, and he said, I go, the wife goes on eBay, she looks up the auction, the last sold auction price, and takes 10 of them, averages them out, takes that price, and knocks $2 off of it. And in the end, and he said, I'm not going to charge what the buy it now prices are, because if that's what you want to pay, why wouldn't you just stay at home? You know what I'm saying? And he was totally, and I love that store because not only was he upfront about that, he'll also cut me deals and cut me breaks if I buy a stack of whatever, and so I can understand it from business end. Yes, you've got to pay people, you got to keep the lights on. I got it. But yeah, Mike, you're totally right. The guy with no pants that just comes out of his garage wanting to charge you eBay prices, shut up, get out of my face with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's my thought on it.
But here's the thing: there's two sides to this story too, because the guy with the no pants is looking at his phone and he's like, "I'm getting ripped off here if he's not getting the full price." So, maybe some people out there selling without the proper education as well. And I just mean they don't know what they're doing with this stuff, and they get really offended too. So sometimes, I've gotten in some really bad situations, but other times most people understand exactly what I'm saying, and they know if they do cut me a bit of a reasonable price, it's going to be continued business.
There's a lot of people that feed the beast, though, too.
Yeah.
But those are also the people that aren't really knowledgeable about what they're buying or selling or whatever. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's rough. It's rough stuff. It's a rough market, especially now. Because the prices are on a rise, especially with the Nintendo stuff. So, I haven't picked anything up in a long time. So, and partially because, all because I don't have a job, but, but that makes it so much worse, right? Because, even flipping my stuff, I'm selling stuff off in my collection just to pay some bills off. Now that's working out great for me right now because prices are so ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You damn reseller.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't have a problem with putting an auction, especially an auction up. You put an auction up, you're taking a risk there. Your item could go for $15. Like I bought a really nice copy of Night Trap the other day off this guy that was selling a load of really rare stuff. He had a little Samson. He had a, Surprising Dinosaur Peak out of Vancouver. He was selling the stuff, and he got paid for all that stuff. But, I got my copy of I got my copy of Night Trap for $10.
Yeah.
Free shipping.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you can get burned. I just sold my Contra Hardcore for $20 some odd. So it was card only, but
still that game usually goes for a lot more than that.
Yep, I know. But that's what happens, and I was okay with it because look, it was just sitting up collecting dust. One, because I don't play it because it kicks my ass.
Yeah.
And it was something I knew I could sell and get more than $1 for. So I thought, well, if it's just going to collect dust and I'm not going to ever play it. And that's another thing about this, the whole thing, is it really makes me take inventory on my collection. Like, am I collecting it just so it's on the shelf and I can brag about the fact that I got a copy of Contra Hardcore? Or am I collecting so that I can play these games? So that's I guess in the end, that's a positive about it, is I really have taken inventory on what I've done to myself.
See, when it comes to like for me, my collecting habits, the way I collect is right now I'm focused on the complete. I want to get a complete black box collection for the NES, as well as I want to get back my 35 plus games that I had.
Yeah.
Original for the NES, and that's it. Now, I also want a full 64 collection because the fact is that the 64 got me through pretty much one of the hardest times of my life. which was high school. I mean, because I went in there, I was getting bullied pretty much every day through high school, right?
Yeah.
Until about grade 11 and grade 12, that's when I became the bully.
Oh, this is such a Saturday morning special now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, you know.
Your hard
right?
times for you. But then when you picked on people, everything was cool, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I felt better about myself.
So you are a humanitarian, Keeb.
Lesson to the kids out there, you know, if you're getting bullied, bully yourself. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Be an asshole. It's all right.
Be an asshole, yeah.
Keeb, did you just sign on to the Be a Star program?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, go back to your story. Like, I'm sure you didn't actually bully people in grade 12. It was a hard time. You played the N64, so you want to recapture those memories. And to be honest, I think that's a little bit why all of us do this. Yeah. I want to be that, 7-year-old kid sitting down playing Super Mario Brothers 2 for the first time.
Yeah.
Every time I turn on my Nintendo, I want to be that guy.
And then there's those systems that I, spent most of my time on my weekends out here, because I was, before high school, I was living in St. John's, right? So I used to come out here for the weekends in the summertime and stuff like that, and holiday weekends and that kind of thing, right? And I ended up spending a lot of time at my cousin's house, and we'd been playing a lot of Super Nintendo and Genesis. So I want to collect all the games that we rented, and finished together. You know what I mean? Me and him, right?
Yeah.
To have this nostalgic memories of those games, as well, right? Then as for the PS2 was like pretty much after high school for me, so I did play a lot of the PS2, but there's not really that many games that I really want to collect for that system.
Yeah.
So there's that one entity right now that is eluding me from my collection, and that's the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man, you need to do it. Break that son of a bitch off.
I need to just bite the bullet and get the system and buy it.
And as Stu would put it, I mean, you can borrow games for that system.
Just borrow it from the internet.
Yep, until you find them. Yeah. I mean, I borrowed a copy of Zombie Night or Zombie Revenge or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm borrowing the hell out of it, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is cool.
Anyway, speaking of that system, how easy is it to burn games for it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What?
That doesn't, no.
I'm actually not very computer savvy, Keeb, and I managed to get it to work, so.
Yeah.
If there was such a thing.
Get what to work?
I've never even heard of that.
I'm going to talk about it. You had to burn off the ISOs.
Yeah.
Never happened. Yeah. I've never done that.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, I didn't have a whole lot of Dreamcast games, but I had a lot of emulators on my Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Dream SNES.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, Sega Stoner is all about... I mean, the Dreamcast can do anything. You can pretty much eliminate your whole collection, and the Dreamcast could be it.
That's what I was going to talk about now. I remember now. I've noticed also that a lot of people, like... This goes to YouTube, actually. A lot of people that were the generation kind of before we came on, that was there probably, 6 months to a year before a lot of us joined YouTube. Yeah. And, they were on YouTube for a long time. They've actually been disgusted with YouTube and disgusted with game collecting because, I don't know, I get weirded out with people's philosophy about YouTube and what's important and stuff like that. But it seems like there is a whole group of individuals or community or network that have just turned away from collecting right now because they don't enjoy it as much anymore because it's more about the price and the rarity of the games than being able to pick up these games and just play them anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah.
It.
Like, Stu, you got to know a couple people like that.
What? They'd rather play than collect?
No. That have, because of their philosophy on what's important about gaming and the price raises and stuff like that, have stopped collecting altogether.
Yeah, I know a few people like that, but, some of those people, they just need to chill out and just remember that, everyone has the same kind of everyone's into gaming, but they just everyone just needs to chill the F out and just freaking play their games and not worry about what other people are doing and stop making themselves disgruntled for those reasons, you know?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's just too much of that. There's just, everyone just needs to chill out, do what makes them happy, collect what makes them happy, play what makes them happy, and to shun off somebody just because they're doing something that they like that they just so happen to not like anymore, screw that too.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
A thing I think is important to remember is that it's a cycle too, because prices are going to go up. They will eventually come down one day, and that's inevitable. But, so, I mean, I choose not to get real upset about the price of the games because what could I do anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm over the price part. I mean, I play the things I love to play because I like to play them. So.
Exactly.
It's Stu brought up a really good point. It's actually ridiculous. Like some people, OK Chief, I've talked to him a lot, and he tells me that people like get vicious with him because of the price he pays for games. They call him up, man. He gets all kinds of hate because people are like, you pay too much for your games. You're setting a bad example for the community. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people? Like, obviously the kid's rich. Let him go spend his money.
Yeah. I mean, and that's your business anyway.
That's right.
Yep. And it just, some people get better deals than other people do, and they just hate on that too. But I can understand from the, just like you, Chris, in your area, you don't really find a bunch of stuff at your thrifts and whatever. But when you come to my area, you can find a lot. But there's also a lot of people trying to look for this stuff too. But I can understand where their frustration comes from.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I get it, but I choose to just do my thing and not worry about it and let the haters hate. So anyway.
No biggie, yeah.
No. And hey, I went down to Kevin's area over the summer to see some family, and I thrifted down there, and it wasn't a whole lot better. I didn't find a whole lot of anything. But
self-plug here, if you haven't watched my thrifting collecting collabo, there's a lot of people in there that say, do they find stuff every day? They're like, no, you got to go either multiple places a day or even every day to get that gem that people find. It's a lot of work, and people don't just find stuff every day. It's just because they're persistent and they always go.
I think Ed T1138 kind of put it really well. Like he explained to us, we were talking about the fact that he found like 75 copies of Earthbound in like 2 days or something like that. I don't know. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but his explanation was he literally covers almost the entire state, in his job. He drives throughout the entire state of Ohio, and I mean, and he checks every thrift store along the way pretty much, I mean, so of course he's going to find something if he does that every day. And I guess people don't realize how much work actually goes into finding those deals. I mean, because that's a lot of work to commit yourself to checking every day or at least every other day or regularly for that matter. Me jumping out there and going to a Goodwill once every 2 months, I'm not going to find anything anyway. Of course I'm not going to find nothing.
Maybe you will. Maybe one time you will, but like you said,
it's a statistical anomaly. And then the Matrix guy is going to be there, and he's going to be talking to me, and I won't understand anything he's saying. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. I mean, prices are prices, and they'll drop. Screw it. So I'm over that, But speaking of Ed, let's why don't we do the top 3? How's that?
Absolutely.
All right, so I know for a fact that Mike and Stu and myself, that's kind of Ed T1138 used to do the top 3 Tuesday, and he's decided to resurrect that. So before we ever knew about him resurrecting top 3 Tuesday, we kind of got the idea to kind of pay an homage and kind of a tip of the hat, and really honestly to kind of get back to how we met. We were going to do a top 3 segment on the podcast. So as part of that, we asked Ed to be the first top 3 guests. So what he did was he sent us an audio file of his top 3 question, and here it is.
Yeah, I've got a question for you guys. You're the Newfoundland Gamer podcast, so why is it the NL Gamer podcast? Why isn't it just the N Gamer podcast, or the NG podcast, or just the NGP? That never really made any sense to me. But then I guess it doesn't make any sense to have 2 Newfies and a Tar Heel in the Newfoundland Gamers podcast. But anyway, my top 3 question. This is what I have for you guys. What are your top 3 most embarrassing moments in video gaming? And what I really mean is, have you ever been in like a Street Fighter II tournament and you got beat by some guy that was just mashing buttons and not putting combinations together? Or you were playing your 5-year-old nephew in a game of Super Smash Brothers and you lost badly. Something like that. Some instance where you were playing games and you either got shown up by somebody else or you were trying to show off and embarrass yourself. That's what I want to know. I want to hear your most embarrassing stories while playing video games.
All right, so that was the topic. Ed wanted us to know. Well, I mean, you guys heard it. What is our 3 most embarrassing video game related moments? And I'll go last since I know I've got 3. I don't know about everybody else, but Keeb, did you have 3 embarrassing video game related moments?
Oh yeah, and I am deeply ashamed of each one of them.
Okay, go ahead.
Fairly deeply ashamed of each one of them. They haunt my nightmares every day. Okay, 2 beatings to Italian Gamer 12 in Injustice.
Okay.
And every time I face my cousin Tyler in any game, no matter what it is, I always end up getting my ass kicked. It could be Wii Sports Tennis, and I'll get my ass kicked.
There you go.
So, I am deeply ashamed of all of that, and if you watch pretty much every episode with the exception of Versus, with the exception of 1, I lose.
Every episode. Fantastic.
In every episode. So if you want to see me get my ass handed to me, watch the Versus series.
Kevin, do you have 3 embarrassing video game related moments, or?
Honestly, I couldn't really think of any except for only just 1. So I guess you could just call this 1 through 3.
Yeah.
It's pretty much when me and a brother of mine had a Sega Genesis and we just got done playing Jurassic Park, and unfortunately, the game didn't work because back then we all knew about rubbing alcohol on to clean the games out with. And we basically went to the bathroom to try to get some rubbing alcohol. And I guess my stepsister kind of misunderstood when we meant that the games aren't turning on because I guess you could say they were sick. And she misunderstood, and what she did was she took this grape Robitussin spray cough medicine, took the cartridge out of the system, and sprayed the inside of it.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Right when we found out that she was doing that, we tried to turn the system on, and it didn't work. So she basically got in trouble for it, and we were embarrassed when our family actually came home about it.
Oh, sucks.
But yeah,
Mike,
that's like the only thing I can remember.
Mike, do you got 3? Or any?
I do have 3. The world of online gaming kind of made me totally embarrassed. That's all I'll say, first off. First would be when I first brought home Street Fighter 4. I consider myself to be a decent Street Fighter, player. I thought I could do pretty good. Got some good combos. I'm really good with Hadoken, Anyways, I start playing the game, not in any way against anybody else, and I start playing through the arcade mode, the story mode, and lo and behold, I didn't realize that I was online and that people from the rest of the world could just automatically challenge you. So I thought I was going to turn on a game on easy and learn my way into Street Fighter 4, and instead I had 4 and 10 and 11-year-olds that just absolutely destroyed me with Blanca.
Nice.
And it's to this point that I still, like, I'm afraid, like, I gotta go in and make sure my settings are to make sure online's off if I'm gonna play, like, Street Fighter 4 or anything like that.
I have to do the same thing. I've got to do
That's the first one. The second one also is online. Like, NHL is another example. Like, every year I buy the new hockey one. I'm one of those people, like a Madden person. I gotta get the new hockey game. I've been playing it for years. Another game I thought I was extremely good at. Online came around and told me that I am absolutely probably one of the worst hockey players in the entire world because I get destroyed by kids. Yeah. And last but not least, the true most embarrassing one was I begged my parents, after seeing The Wizard, we were having this big Nintendo tournament here at our town. I lived in Mount Pearl growing up, as did Keeb, and there was this massive tournament, and the winner got, like, I don't know, it was like $200 worth of Sears gift certificate, something along those lines. So my parents dropped me off, and I said, yeah, I'm just going to go in. The tournament's probably going to be around 5 or 6 hours, so don't come back till then to pick me up, because I'm going to be in it till the end. So I go in, I sit down at a TV for 10 minutes, and I was eliminated. Then I had to wait there for another 5 hours to get picked up. So that's probably the most disheartening and embarrassing gaming moment I ever had.
That's really sad. How old were you?
Poor Blake.
I was 10 years old, and it was on Super Mario Brothers 1, and I thought I was the absolute shit at the game. And then I see everybody doing, like, the stage 1-3 trick where they're jumping on the turtle shell, racking up the points, and I knew it was game over then.
Yeah. Stu, what are yours?
I actually do not have one. I could not remember one, so I'm out on this one.
Oh, well.
Sorry, guys.
Well, I've got 3, so I can make up for it. I'll start with the number 3. That's the most recent one. Mike, you made me remember it because I buried it deep in my subconscious. Keeb already knows. So Keeb and I have always been talking about getting online and playing the DC versus Mortal Kombat game, since everybody's on there playing that, right?
17 people are
all 17 people that play that game. But me and Keeb, it's one of the games he and I both have, so we thought, we'll get on there and play. Now, I fighting genre was kind of always my favorite genre. It was, so I thought, hey, I'm pretty good, I thought I can whip Keeb's ass, no problem. And I just assumed that. And I got on there, and Keeb unleashed a fury upon me. I was straight up embarrassed. I was like, I was so glad I was the only person up playing it, because I was on the verge of tears.
Let's put it this way. You got your ass kicked like an altar boy on Sunday.
Wow. I did. I did. I got beat down. That was no denying that. So
yeah, see, it's KeebThe JokingGamer. He's the same as the comedian in The Watchmen. See,
yeah,
it's all serious shit. That's the joke.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. It was bad. I was bad. I was so screwed. So that was number 3. Number 2 was another recent one, fairly recent one. My brother, who I used to be able to stomp a mud hole in his ass and walk it dry on just about anything we ever played. We played Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 at his house recently, and we were playing, and I won one match. And another one of those things where he was unleashing these combos, and like I couldn't even block because I wouldn't have time enough to hit the ground to block. So that was also embarrassing. And he was like, how siblings can be. He was getting the best of me too, because I was ready to punch him in the nuts, because he was just like, oh, you getting mad? Are you getting mad? Ooh, that feels so good. And like he was just, oh man. I was ready to kill him.
Oh yeah.
And probably my number 1, my most embarrassing moment was last year at MagFest. I spent a lot of time playing the Mortal Kombat cabinets in the arcade downstairs, and I was on the Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet. Now, Mortal Kombat is my favorite fighting franchise. So, I really do enjoy it. I think it's funny. They're all fighting games. But anyway, I'm playing Mortal Kombat, and this kid walks up and wants to play. They're all on free play, so he just walks up, and, I've done fairly well on one player by myself over there for a while, so I thought, this kid's probably never even played this game. And, I mean, he might have been 12. Best case scenario, the kid's 12. He gets up and he beats my ass. And, I seriously wouldn't say a word to the kid. Like everybody else, you know, it's always good game and it's good etiquette. I was like, well, forget this. And I just kind of walked off and I went and talked to him.
Who do you use?
I always use Scorpion.
Who'd he use?
Oh, he used Sub-Zero. So, anyway, yeah, it sucked. It sucked.
But Scorpion's the spam character in that game.
I know. And that's why I thought, I got this. And like, Scorpion's the one I always used. But, I mean, this kid he had impeccable timing. Impeccable timing. I mean, he was nearly flawless in how he played. And
it was a nearly flawless victory?
It was very nearly flawless. Little son of a bitch. Anyway.
Did he finish you? I gotta know.
No, he didn't. He didn't have the face. I was trying to tell him, you know, well, I wasn't telling him shit. Fuck him. But, you know. Wow. I'm thinking, you know, anyway, no, he didn't do the fatality. He just did the uppercut ending, but that was humiliating enough, little bastard. So, anyway.
That's probably even more humiliating. He let you live.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. He had mercy upon me. So I didn't play Mortal Kombat, at least that cabinet anymore, because I didn't want him to come around and see me on it anymore. I was kind of scared, which is sad. Anyway. That is our top 3 segment. If you want to be featured on the Game On Network podcast and give us a top 3 comment or a top 3 topic, you can personal message that to us either on the Facebook page or to the YouTube channel, or you know, those are the 2 options. And you can send in your top 3 question. It would be great if you also give what your top 3 are for whatever topic you give. If you're out there and listening, you have 3 embarrassing moments from your gaming past, and you want to share them, you can share those as video responses, quote unquote, on the Game On Network website. You can just post your link down in the comment section. So that all being said, thanks for all you guys that have sent stuff in that I've kind of got in an archive, and we need more and more submissions. So thanks a lot. That being said, I think it would be a great time to roll into Keeb Speaks. How about it, Keeb?
So anyway, I thought of this for this week's Keeb Speaks, and basically I was thinking about like how we all know that PS Vita TV is going to be launched. Yes, why don't Nintendo release a similar, you know, based, you know, system with just, you know, basically just a DS player that hooks up to your TV. In other words, right? Yes, maybe they could throw in like, I don't know, a Netflix app, Hulu, you know, stuff like that, right? As well, you know, as a selling point, you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Make it like basically a TV, a TV streaming service, right?
Yeah.
As well as, you know, a game system, you know?
So, are you talking about using the DS system as a controller there, or are you saying between the gamepad, the game tablet or whatever, and your TV screen, that could be your new 2DS? What? Your new DS?
Yeah. Basically, it will be, of course, cross-compatible with DS, 3D, and 3DS games, and by basically what's going to have is the charge port, right?
Sure.
Basically, it's going to allow you to. It's going to have basically think of it like Game Boy, okay? The old Game Boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with both two proprietary charge ports on each end, right? And you connect one charge port to your DS, and the other to the console.
Well, but the problem I have with that is the fact that now everything's wireless, and you start throwing cables out there with people, and they're going to be like, no. I mean, I think the idea. I mean, we talked about it earlier. You know, Stu said.
Yeah.
Like both.
No. That's only going to be for charging. See?
Okay.
Yeah, you plug the one in because, of course, or it could be USB. You know.
Well,
I don't know, whatever, right? Or, you know, whatever, whichever way it's gonna work for charging the system, you know?
Hyperkin,
right?
if you're listening, hire this man right now.
He's a gold mine.
Anyway, okay, it will work. It will basically what will be the wireless thing will be it will pick up, I guess, signals from like a wireless signal from your DS.
Okay.
As well, and be transcoded to your, you know, to your console box, right? Like
the engineer, ladies and gentlemen,
as a controller, right?
Yeah.
To play your games, yeah.
Okay. Warp speed, Mr. Sulu.
Or maybe the Wii U gamepad as well as the, I don't know, even the Pro Controller. Somehow. Some nature will figure out all those devices.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it could be a fairly... That was my interpretation of trying to use Rouge science.
Well, that was weird science.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird science.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I think the idea of some kind of DS compatibility, it's like Mike said, that it's just a modified SD card. Honestly, I think the idea is a feasible idea.
Yeah,
to somehow play DS games with the Wii U and the tablet and stuff like that. All that, I don't even really know what you just said, but
I got lost in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think Stu's going to find out in the next couple of days, and I've already been playing it a bit. You can really see the connectivity between the Wii and the Wii U, especially with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, and you could see how that DS and 3DS compatibility can work just alone with that system. Because as you're playing the game, you're also flawlessly navigating the menu on the lower pad, which is a very cool concept, which we have seen in the DS Zelda releases already somewhat, and other things like that. So it just seems like it's a perfect fit. I don't know about perfect. Like, it's going to be hard to play games like Contra 4 that utilize two screens at all time for action on both screens. Yeah. But some games would work very well using the two screens of the Wii U.
When I'm thinking about those games that use the main screen as well as the touchscreen, you know, the touchscreen, basically you could use, say use your touchscreen for, like, you know, say they use your touchscreen for, like using your, basically using your, getting into your inventory and, you know, swapping in and out items and that kind of thing, you know?
Got it.
Well, you do that on your gamepad as well. You do that on your gamepad screen, and then, you know, your TV screen becomes the main screen.
I think that's what was Michael saying.
The touch screen control the other touch screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
My brain's fried now.
Getting back to the point of this, Contra 4 is too hard. Contra's hard enough with one screen. What do you need stuff on two screens?
What the hell, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Contra, I want Shattered Soldier like a beast, man. Anybody? I know it's not a rare game and it's not an expensive game, but I don't have a job, people. So if you're listening, you got a copy, or you want to hook me up on that, shoot me a message. Yeah. It'd be great.
Hey, Chris, I have a copy. If you have a bunch of PS2 games that you're not looking, we can just do a swap straight up.
All right, we might be able to work something out. Yeah.
All right.
I want to play it so bad, man. It was like it's one of those like nostalgia things. Me and a buddy played it a whole bunch in college. So anyway, let's do games we've been playing, and we'll be pretty close to closing things out. So let's do games we've been playing. Let's do new guys first. So Kevin, what you been playing?
Nothing. Moving on.
Okay.
Nothing. Have you ever heard that? No, I haven't.
Well, the thing is, I haven't really had time to play anything new lately, so it's kind of been just reading and watching videos, but that's been about it.
Hey. Cool. Stu, you're next, and then Keeb, you'll go for Stu.
Well, I have been playing like everyone else Grand Theft Auto 5, but in between that time, I recently broke my TV, so I've been trying to figure out another way to get, my scanline goodness. So I've been just doing a lot of research on the SLG 3000, which is a scanline generator, so I can use it with newer HD TVs. I know that sucks because it's not really a CRT, but also I didn't feel like carrying another 100-pound TV upstairs and downstairs. But I'm really looking forward to what I'll post a video later, but basically what I did is I'm getting an S-video converter to VGA, and VGA goes into the monitor, and VGA feeds to the SLG, if any of that made sense. But hopefully by the end of it, I will have a decent setup right on my desk that won't crush it.
Cool. That's cool.
So, but I've been playing a lot of Mega Man and a lot of shooters on the Super Nintendo.
Good deal.
That's about
it. Keeb, what you been playing?
Justice Gods Among Us, because I did about 10 minutes today for the review itself, which I gotta say is my third review I've done now, and it's by far probably the one that obviously looks the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that much, Keeb.
Because I actually put a lot of time into that review, believe it or not. Even though I winged the whole review.
Yeah.
Without a script. And I actually wrote scripts for the first 2 reviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I've been playing a bit of that. I've been playing a bit of Black Ops 2, and then just the same rung of NES games pretty much.
Cool.
Super Mario Brothers 2, 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and a few others like that.
Cool. Mike?
I lost my life for a long period of time because I played and became completely invested in Grand Theft Auto 5, and
yeah,
I loved it, and I was sad when it was over. Wow. And I'm still trying to capture that experience again. I haven't found it again yet, but I've moved on to 2 really great games. I'm currently playing Tales of Xillia on the PS3, and I'm also playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. And I'm surprised how little I remember that game. It's like I'm playing it again for the first time, because I got that launch day and finished it right away, and I haven't touched it since. And it truly is beautiful, and I'm really having a lot of fun playing it again. Haven't been playing a lot of retro games, but I have found a game that I'm completely in love with, and I've been trying to force my friends to buy it too, and I think everybody should try it, and that's Wampum on the NES, which is actually a really fun game.
Yeah, you've been hounding me about it, so I'll have to look into it. But is that it?
That's it.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn. I finally finished Rule of Rose and did my review.
Yep.
That's a wild game, man. I'll say, I mean, it's like I said in the review, you just explore as much as you possibly can so that you really learn as much as you possibly can. What else have I been playing? I finished the game that I'm going to be reviewing for Halloween. The game I'm playing and that I'm doing is a very short game, in my opinion. It only took me 20 some odd minutes to beat it. And it's really fast. But it's good. I finally finished Contra. I've never finished that. Even as a kid, I never finished the original Contra.
You finished Contra Asterix.
Yeah, I used the code, but I did finish it. Well, I'll take it anyway I can get it, but
cheater.
Yeah. Did that. I played Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers, so I could crush Ryan Right Now's speed run.
Yeah, you sure did.
They trash talked me whenever I did that challenge, so I brought the thunder. And 3 seconds, bitches. I beat him by 3 seconds. And I actually, the funny thing is that was the second run, because my first run I recorded, I beat him by 8 seconds. I'd killed it, and I was like, oh yes, and it didn't record, so that was not good.
Yeah, you've been having some problems with that lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the recording program's been crashing on me when I was been recording, so
yeah,
I don't know what's going on with it, but I think I'm just going to uninstall and reinstall and see if that fixes it. And Who knows? I've been playing some arcade games. Been playing some G.I. Joe.
Yes.
Per Mike's recommendation. That game's a lot of, Demand. That game's a lot of fun, man. I really feel cheated that I never had it in any of my local arcades around here. It's really a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of Space Harrier, only better to me.
Yeah.
It's weird. I find it to be much better than Space Harrier, in my opinion. I don't know.
I always bump into shit. In the beginning of that game, do you block those giant silos, or do you run through them?
You shoot them.
I shoot them.
You shoot them down. You unleash the dragon. I think that's everything. I've been doing a lot of I've been playing a lot of Nintendo this week. So I've been playing a lot of Nintendo, a lot of arcade games, really more or less to capture video footage for intros and different things like that. But man, I've got to get my hands on a lot of really great games. I played Panic Restaurant for a little while the other night, and
that game's awesome, isn't it?
Man, I really do enjoy it. I really want to go through it and commit more time to it because the music's really cool. I was really impressed with the music, and it's not too difficult of a game. At least the first level, it's it was fun. It's just good fun. So, it wasn't stressful in any way. So.
In my opinion, if they put G.I. Joe on Xbox Live Arcade or PSN or something like that, and did online cooperative multiplayer,
oh my God.
I'd quit my job.
Yeah,
I'd just be done.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to quit it before you lost it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
That's the thing about that. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot. That's a fun game, man. And Space Harrier is one. Like I said, it reminds me of Space Harrier, but Space Harrier, I get almost dizzy feeling when I play it. Because there's too much motion, in my opinion, going on the screen for me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I get the same feeling with Afterburner at times.
Yeah, that's another one, man. The arcade cabinet for Afterburner makes me want to throw up. Yeah. Especially when you start doing all those spins and crap. Oh, craziness. Well, we've been doing this for hour and a half. Anyway, that has been the first episode of the Game On Network podcast. We really hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you subscribe. We hope you check out the Game On Network website. We hope you check out the Game On Network Facebook page. Subscribe to the iTunes feed. I really can't reiterate enough how much fun this is to do this show, and how great it is to have some new blood in the house, and especially when it's guys that I just really genuinely love talking to and doing the video game thing with. So, honestly, in all seriousness, you four fellas are a lot of fun to hang out with. So, that's me in my sappy moment, and I'm done.
Yeah.
So, this is me signing out, WeekendGameGuy saying goodbye, and I'll leave it to you fellas to say goodnight yourselves.
Well, good night, guys. See y'all in the next episode.
Well, good night. Till the next time. Till the next episode. Till the next podcast. We will see you next time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock the fuck on. Oh, Chris.
Yo.
Did you play RC Pro-Am 2 as well?
I did.
Nice.
I play it all the time.
Oh.
Good night.